Chimamanda Bali, Ado, Afori, Amagwa, na Parliament International School, actually, petrochemical engineering, Afambo Kosi Sochiku Obali, Adin Afoi P9, Anamagwa Kukona Parliament International School, Achombo, a medical doctor, Kanu Ndewaka, Loki Lubawoyo. Chondomu, Okunmi, Nifemi, Olabode, mo fẹ́ràn láti máa kọrin àti láti mú inú àwọn ènìyàn dùn. Mo fẹ́ di olórin tàbí olùkọ́ tí mo bá dàgbà. Ẹ ṣé.
Well, hey there, it is so good to see you. Welcome to the Medley show. Not sure user face I know, but I promise you at the end of the hour, you are going to have such a good time. We have great conversation, great guests of course, great features. The whole hour is bumper packed and I'm sure we're going to enjoy you the entire time. Once again, welcome to the Medley show and my name is Tochi Oputa. Of course, I will not be doing this alone. I'm with the beautiful Marianne. How you doing, girl?
I'm fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Humbled to be here.
So we're going to have fun today, right?
Most definitely.
I promise you that. Anyway, we're going to be talking about, I'm sure you saw the feature that started the program. Really interesting. I mean, those children were speaking their native language. They were telling you what they want to be in the future in their native language. That, of course, has set the tone for what we'll be talking about today. What's the conversation today? Gradual extinction of our Nigerian languages. Marianne, what do you think?
It's a big issue. It's a very big issue. Over the years, we noticed that the decline in our language is going down, and then everything is busting here.
Everyone wants to speak English.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It looks like a status thing now. I mean, if you don't know how to speak English.
Technically, but yes, I think it's more of a fault in the system. Because I don't see a reason why you shouldn't understand.
When you say system, are you talking about our family now?
Both system, family at large. More important, I think, is the family, not even the society at large.
Okay, because, well, family, yes. I'm not going to blame the society so much. I'm going to blame the family more because I learned how to speak Igbo from my parents. I mean, proud Igbo girl. I should say welcome in Igbo. Not to say welcome in our native language. I mean, if we're talking about someone, we should show that we actually
Yes.
So, no, the by that need quiet like today. And I'm ready. Oh my God, I just put today inside. But anyway, you get the picture. I can't speak my language, that's true. Anyway, we're going to be talking more about this today. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the show, grab your popcorn, grab your coke, sit down, relax, call your friends and family because you're about to have a fantastic time. Let's show you a background report. See this.
Wọ́n yọ sí lójijì ẹ̀ṣù aládùúgbò yìí ha ẹ̀rọ ìfilẹ̀ olókì mọ́tò ńlá yẹn tí wọ́n gbé mọ́tò ńlá wa àwọn èèyàn wọn pé mo wà láàárín mo ò dẹ̀fẹ́ kọ́ ọmọ kan lórí kò sáré lójú sádùúgbò fún mi. èsì bá wo àbá fi ẹ̀ lẹ̀ pé sádùúgbò mu.
Nigeria, a country with over 250 ethnic groups and languages. Some of these languages have a rich history of being used and recognized globally long before colonization. These languages were used by different ethnic groups within the country for communication and cultural exchange, and were also used for trade and diplomacy with neighboring countries. For instance, in cultural exchange, Nigerian languages have contributed to the exchange of culture between Nigeria and other countries. Many Nigerian musicians sing and perform in their native languages, making their music unique and showcasing the richness of Nigerian culture. This cultural diversity is a source of pride for many Nigerians. However, despite this linguistic richness, the languages are fast decaying. One wonders, what could be the reasons? Today, many Nigerian children, especially those in urban areas, grow up speaking English as their first language, with little or no attention to their native language, making it difficult to learn or to speak it fluently. Another reason is the lack of interest among younger generations. Many young Nigerians see English as a symbol of modernity and success, and they may feel embarrassed to speak their local language. Nigerian languages have a rich history of being used and recognized globally before colonization. However, with the imposition of European languages, particularly English, as the language of administration and education, the use and importance of Nigerian languages have declined. Nevertheless, efforts are being made to promote and preserve Nigerian languages, and it is important to recognize the significance of these languages in shaping our culture and identity.
It's glad to know that you're still here with us. This is the Medley Show, and we are talking, why are our Nigerian languages going extinct? Of course, I'm not alone in the studio. We're joined by someone who I greatly respect, Auntie Dayo. I mean, that's what we call her, but she is Dayo Benjamin Lani. Welcome to the show.
And it's a joy to be here. Hi, Nigeria.
First of all, I remember you from 700 Club. And then every time we would go for the experience or watch the experience, we are sure that we're going to hear that voice. Welcome to the Medley Show.
Thank you.
I'm going to start by asking you, how many languages can you speak? I know, of course, you can speak Yoruba, but besides that, how many languages can you speak?
Meta.
Meta. That's it?
My God!
Is that it?
1 2 3 eta.
Oh my God! Oh, I'm so... Oh, you speak Igbo Hausa. No, what? You speak Yoruba Hausa.
Let me tell you what I do. It's a smattering. The truth of the matter is, even I am language challenged when it comes to my own ethnic orientation as Yoruba. So I speak Yoruba, English, counts? Does that count?
Oh yeah, that counts.
And the truth is, we just make out, not even my French own, but one has been compliant with West African country. We should be dual in terms of our French language and English language, but Nigerians have remained resistant when it comes to that acculturation in language, and sadly the demise of our own local tongues, that is sad.
But do you think there's a resistance? I'm not sure it's a resistance to not learning.
No, it's not so much a resistance. In one context, no. But in another context, even I as a parent, how have I fared?
Do your children speak Yoruba very well?
No. That's why I say I as a parent have failed. Let me be sincere with you. And it's something that, in terms of the origin, I was listening to the feature. And it's true. I was raised in a family, the Olumbe families, from Abuja, but in Lagos, and it was like haram to speak Yoruba. We were to speak English, so I was raised with the English language. And then it was when I got into secondary school in St. Louis, Mokola in Patton, for my what we now call junior secondary years, that an incident happened, and a senior overheard one of my peer juniors
abusing me in Yoruba, and I was laughing, and everybody was laughing because I didn't understand what was being said. I think it was like and I was laughing, something, you know, whatever they call it, and I was just there laughing. And the senior was so angry. It was siesta time. She sent for us. Everyone was punished. And then I was there feeling like, oh, there was a victim, they were abusing me. She said, you didn't understand what they were saying. I said, no. Then she punished that girl, told her to kneel, wicked sinners, kneel under her bed.
Oh my goodness, how did she
After whipping her, you want to say that. And then I'm there like, and the next she said, and you! And I'm going to punish you longer. Aren't you a Yoruba girl? You don't even understand. Somehow, from that experience, and by the time I was graduating from St. Louis, I understood. So like I said, you can't sell me in the market. I understand.
Well, I was raised differently.
Okay.
I grew up in Jos actually, but my mom had this rule. When you go to school, speak English. When you come home, you speak Igbo.
So where are you from? Okay,
I'm from Anambra. I am from Ulewi, and I speak my dialect. I don't just speak. That's the only Igbo I know. When I'm talking, when I'm speaking Igbo to people, they ask me, "Where are you from? Are you from Ulewi?" Because I may have said something that only someone who's from Ulewi would know that that's the way we say it. So yeah, so every single one of us we speak Igbo very well. But except my nieces and nephews, my sister is having a hard time getting them to speak Igbo.
My mom-in-law, blessed memory now, from the Chukura family of Asaba. Actually, raised 7. My husband and his siblings are 7 in number. My husband is the let me say 7, 8. My husband is number 7. Now there were 5 girls before the 3 boys. Mama married my father-in-law, also of blessed memory, and she trained every one of them to speak in Yoruba. The older sisters speak Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. And it's interesting because my eldest aunt-in-law trained her own children to speak Igbo. Tunde just will not show me. He speaks Igbo, he speaks Yoruba, he speaks Hausa. He understands.
That is amazing.
Now, and then with my daughter, my mother-in-law, who stayed with us before she demised, started teaching her. And then my daughter knows how to speak Yoruba, Aoriki. So she says, and this, my mother-in-law, why I say such great kudos to her. Even with me, she'll say, see our
I feel sold.
In other words, yes, I sold you right now for 2 kobo and 2 pence. But actually, what she would say is, my dear wife, you should learn to speak Yoruba more and put more effort into also teaching the children Yoruba. My children now in Canada, and my sons are like, Mom, it's not fair, you didn't teach us Yoruba.
But what would you say is the possible reason why it feels like, because I kind of agree with you when you said they're sort of fighting it. When you said, what was the word? Resistance. Yeah,
it's subliminal.
I'll tell you why I use resistance. Somehow, in a society, it feels like if you identify with speaking your native language, you are a Jew person. When I was working in the East, I had this colleague. She could literally translate English.
What does that mean, a Jew person?
Like, you don't know.
I'm sorry, because this generation. So
like you're not wrong.
You're wrong. Oh my God. Are you even speaking English or you're speaking what text language?
I'm sure you had slangs from your time.
Definitely.
There are some I don't even understand from Gen Z. It's
okay. All right. Let's get back to another language fact.
So she could literally read she could translate from an English script, translate it straight to Igbo. Like she was that good. She even whether it's the Bible, anything, she knew the words. But then when we had Igbo, when we needed someone to do something in Igbo and we would call her, she would get upset. She said, "Oh, so I'm the local one that would come and be speaking Igbo." And I'm like, what are you saying? Like, I would be very proud. Like I would give anything. I can speak Igbo, but I can't read it. So if you can literally translate Igbo from an English script, you're good. You just don't understand how your potential. So is it like, why do you think people put up that resistance though?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're social creatures. In terms of socio-cultural context and society, you want to be seen to be the best fly side. You understand? I'm educated, I'm enlightened, I'm all that and put together. I mean, we all do what we do with our enunciation and all of that. But I've come to realize, most importantly, when it comes to our elocution, it happened to be in the studio just, I think last week with our vintage Uncle Wale Koka, and we were doing something with recording, and then I went into my clear, clean accent, and he said, no, give me an accent that connects with people.
Right.
So we all have to understand that our accents have to be universal and then be authentic. So the tendency also is that if I don't speak the English, they're going to see me as a bush person. No. Why should I talk like that? I mean, I was somewhere in the West Indies on the radio and they were saying, Dayo, we want you to use that word, like challenge. How you speak challenge in Africa? I'm like, my mom's from Trini, so they were like, they wanted me to say challenge as an African. I said, you mean challenge? Challenge. So I waited until the recording was done and I said challenge. I said what? I said why you don't talk that much? I said you're not serious. I mean the Africans, you don't even speak your English correct. Because we have our heavy accents, let me tell you, as a Nigerian, even if you are a Yoruba person, you can speak like you want to speak, so everybody can hear you. Chinese man speaks with Chinese accent, French man speaks with a French accent, Italian man speak with Italian, Nigerians speak Nigerian. The most important thing is that we should enunciate clearly. So my understanding is we've lost that sense of pedigree, of ownership when it comes to our Yoruba. And then, going through all of the elections I went through, trying to engage people at grassroots, I fell in love with my language more. I'm just coming from somewhere now, somewhere in the level of calling me somewhere in there. And when I got in there, I wanted to connect to that. I just go there, hello everybody. I said, sunny surprise. Sunny surprise. And we're all connected. Look, the most important thing is, we must find a track. And once you find that track, you establish the connection. Be authentic, establish connection, and all of us have to get connected to our roots. Again, thank you for selling me again. Thank you for selling me again. Anyway, the word is be authentic, and be sure to speak it right. Anyway, we speak with a polyglot next, so we'll be right back. Stay with us. Polyglot. Wow.
My name is Adedeji Odolesi. I'm from Ogun State. I'm obviously Nigerian. I speak 8 languages, and somebody who speaks many languages is called a polyglot, so I'm one. Okay, but I'm here to talk about the Nigerian languages. Okay, so I was born in Warri, Delta State. Now, Pidgin English, we speak for that place now. Now, the general language where everybody sabi be that. So, now the language when I grow up, now be that. But at home, Yorùbá ni àwọn òbí mi máa ń bá wa sọ. Lábẹ́ àkóso wọn ni mo ti gbọ́ èdè Yorùbá. Mo pé ogún ọdún kí n tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gbélé Yorùbá. Okay. From Delta State, we traveled to North. Sokoto precisely. I wouldn't in Nigeria harshen Hausa. Shekara takwas gaba ɗaya ne na zauna a arewacin Najeriya daidai jihar Sokoto a wurin ne na ji harshen Hausa kuma harshen yana da muhimmanci kwarai da gaske gare ni. And when we left the north, we came to the east, Imo State Owerri. No, where can more asasibu baramuru kuku ba nori aremama iji masibu apatego iji me apori ihe. Hola. And that's why I'm dressed today. It's the last language I learned, Nigerian language, and I've got acclimatized to the values and the cultures of Igbo land. I spent 2 years there, 2 full years in Igbo land. Okay, so coming to languages are very important. It's a part of us. If you lose your language, you lose your identity, you lose a very important part of your heritage. The countries that are doing very, very well, like China, Japan, etc., they speak their own language, their mother tongue, not English. They might understand, but they won't speak it with you. You go to Germany and speak in German to them, they tell you, ich verstehe nicht. I don't understand. They might understand, and they're doing very fine learning the languages, learning their studies in their language. And we have an example with Tanzania. Tanzania, their official language is Swahili, you see, and because they have valued their own language, they are doing very fine. It's of course we have other countries like Uganda, Kenya, etc., that speak Swahili, and it's now one of the African Union languages. So what I'm saying in essence is, if you value your language, people will help you to value your language. But we see today that our languages are diminishing. The extent to which our children are speaking our language is dropping. I must confess, my parents speak better Yoruba than myself. Of course, they were born in Yoruba land. They grew up in Yoruba land. I wasn't born in Yoruba land. I didn't grow up in Yoruba land. But my children don't speak Yoruba as well as myself. We should endeavor to promote our own languages. And to achieve this, we must first admit that our languages are not inferior to other languages. No, they aren't. Our languages are as good as other languages. And then, two, we should also admit that if we speak our languages, we will not be less intelligent than those who just do English. We are not reduced by any measure. And you can see people like late Professor Chinua Achebe. He did fantastic. In his book, Things Fall Apart. It's a global classic. Why? He has a deep comprehension of the Igbo language and culture, which we call Omenali Igbo. You see? So we should appreciate first of all, realize and internalize it that your language is not secondary, it's not less important. Then, in our schools, or even before you come to school, at home, speak the language to your children. Speak your Yoruba to your children at home. Speak your Igbo to your children at home. Speak your Hausa to your children at home. And I must give it to the Hausas in this regard. The system in the schools should promote the usage of our languages. Every child should be able to do his language and be able to speak his language. I think gone should be the days when children are flogged and they were told to write names of those who speak vernacular. Can you imagine? Write names of those who speak vernacular in the class. It happened in our days. You have to speak English. Those are the things that are killing the languages. We should promote our languages. We should encourage in the school the use of language. Let there be competitions and awards for the best Yoruba students, for the best Igbo student, for the best Efik student, for the best Kanuri student. Yes, let there be such competitions.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Medley Show, and of course, you're not so late to the party. We are talking the gradual extinction of Nigerian languages, and it is that time when you get to send us your messages. So of course we can talk about it on the show. The number is 0811-778020. The number is on your screen, so of course send your messages and we'll read it on the show. Marianne?
Okay, so I think it's easy for us to actually blame, apportion some sort of blame to our parents. Don't you think the society also has a hand in gradually killing the language in Nigeria?
I tell you what, and I'm not necessarily blaming parents or anyone. I think, like I said, we've evolved. Society has evolved. Exposure to what people call education, like you said. There was a time I went through that time in Corona school in Papa. You were punished if you spoke in vernacular. When I was at home, it wasn't allowed. So yes, there was a time. And we've evolved now to understand that that was an era of exposure to what people call enlightened society, a more civil kind of society, in terms of being the aristocracy and all of that. So we're able to speak English and behave like the English and have all those overtures that come from that. But the truth of the matter is, the richest lexicons are derived from the transliteration. I'm now speaking as a graduate of English from the University of Ibadan, in terms of morphology and syntax, when you're able to derive and interpret the language of what was said in Yoruba, in Igbo, so I'll take for instance this worship song, just Jehovah, when, what does that mean? Something happens to me and Yoruba, but every time I hear songs in
Yes,
there's something that draws my spirit. It just
helps you connect in some sort of way.
Yes, and I realized, and that's why I think it's one of the most pathetically pretentious things when I hear people singing in Yoruba and they're putting an O in there. When excuse me, they're singing in Igbo. Be authentic. And meanwhile, I had an uncle who used to speak Yoruba with Oxonian English, honestly. Dr. Sholari, he was Thai Sholari, so he would say, the cow of the person would be found because we're so low. I'm serious. He spoke with a complete Oxonian Cambridge accent. And well, he was a trip. He didn't do it because he was being affected. It became his style of communication, and any family member who's listening now probably would laugh because it was just that is his experience. So I mean, I wouldn't blame, but definitely I love the call to action. Let's begin to host competitions that celebrate our language, our culture, and the inflection of how we're able to live out. I love what's his name,
I think they teach languages in schools.
When DK is his fluency, it's not just the content and sounding like the spoken word art. He's an artist using the ethnic inflections. He's not ashamed or afraid to identify with them and use them to contour, to design what he has to say. So no, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that this is an amazing subject matter. Kudos to NTA and the team here to just awaken our very conscious will to become distinctive in owning the pedigree of our language. And now in Nigeria, I think probably this will be one of the strongest rallying, unifying ports, not for a divisive, and Igbo, so I speak Igbo to myself, no, nothing like that, but something that translates above and beyond that. I was talking about my mom-in-law. I mean, my husband speaks better Hausa than he does.
I actually like it when I see people who are not from a certain place speaking that. I mean, I tried for the longest time to learn Hausa. The thing that I was able to I tried.
My husband, even in cutting me, when he met me, said, you look Fulani. So he said, you should just look like the Fulani girls. I said, every time just go, Lapia. He said, don't say Lapia. He said, Lapia.
So you identify completely.
I mean, yes, I do. And I just find it, it's just so weird.
Anyway, guys, I just want to say, please stop calling in. Please send in your messages. Well, we'll read your messages, but if you call, we won't take a call on the show. Just send in your messages. The number is on your screen. Anyway, I'm going to ask you said you're not going to blame the parents, but I would like to think that society has something to do with this. I don't want to talk about the parents for now because it's sort of the way the world is. It sort of plays on your psyche. Like you feel like I said earlier. You feel like when you come into a certain place and then you speak your language, you're treated like you're local. Because sometimes when I go to some places or I'm with certain kind of people and then they speak Igbo and then I respond, or maybe you're saying something about me and they turn like, they speak Igbo, I'm like, shouldn't I? I mean, it's my language. I should know how to speak it and be proud that I can speak it. Why should you be surprised that I can speak Igbo? So it sort of makes people think like, I shouldn't know how to speak my language because they're going to think I'm local. So just to identify with a certain kind of crowd, I'd rather just speak to English.
I'll tell you what I would rather, because I think both of you are trying to get into a place where I must blame society.
No,
I really don't blame. I don't want to put society on the Let me tell you what I would rather trace it to. We have to teach people to be more authentic and confident about being the original versions of themselves. Now, if that puts you on the spot, speaking your language, or English with a Nigerian ethnic accent, or whatever, as our contemporary generation would say, then it's okay. I believe we've failed when it comes to raising people to be confident, authentic expressions of their nativity. And once we can get that right, everything would flow from language to ethnic, dressing, packaging. Yesterday we were at the Nike Art Gallery commissioning in Dubai, and the beauty of just in that place of our clothes, of the, everything. I was wearing something by Nike Kiran that was really like vintage Ashoke, done with little tie-dye. Abuja Museum was there, Abuja Africa. Abuja, I met him at the Hilton. He had been celebrated by Tony Foundation and everything for Adiwe, and he had never been to Abeokuta. I am from the Adiwe place. My heritage is from Kentucky, where the first Yaradi came up with the dye and all of the creative expression, the art, the indigo art that today is Mamanuke Art Gallery, Ebuka, Museum, and all of that. And it's like, my goodness, that is art? No, that is a message. That is the power of entrepreneurship, from what was traditional to what is now contemporary, to what is now a museum, to what is now a complete value chain when it comes to culture, communication, society. Everyone who came there yesterday, the diplomats, the architecture of the place, our nativity, the food, the ofada, the beans. Yesterday was
I'd like to think that. I'd like to think I would like to think that the reason why you can connect with this in the way you are and as excited as you are is because you made an effort to learn your language. If you couldn't speak, I would like to think so. But anyway, before we make an effort. She did.
At some point, madam,
she's here.
Enough of this. The first person who took it.
that senior didn't permit
you. Taught me to kneel down. You kneel down. You're right there. You must learn how to kneel down. Kneel down and greet. Kneel down and say good morning. Kneel down and say good morning. Oh my God, we kneel down. Kneel down.
We'll continue with this shortly, but right now we need to go to the streets and find out if people can actually speak their native language. We did give them a task, and this is what we got from the streets. Watch this.
So, Nigeria, we're a great country, huh? You people should come. What do I need to say? Cut. Okay? Nigeria, you're a great country, huh? Lebaneba Kanakan. So, Lishai Kill song, Gasly make for better country for Benyakwa.
Nigeria jẹ́ ìlú tó ní òkìkí tó dẹ̀ ní ògo, and àwa èèyàn táwa ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ jẹ́ èèyàn kan tó jẹ́ èèyàn kan pàtàkì náà àti èèyàn iyì, so ẹ jẹ́ kí a sowọ́pọ̀ ká gbé orílẹ̀-èdè wa lárugẹ láti gbédé ìpele tí ó tọ́ àti tí ó yẹ.
Nigeria ka tawo si shi saba jiri gene zanga, so barumba heme mbarabu nango we airport do share siza heme.
Let's work together to make it great.
Yes, such chawo si sizo na nebe na asi ko do si so that sinenge mze heme shi sepa se to akpese yo.
Okay, so sir, what tribe is that?
I'm Tiv by tribe.
Oh, Tiv.
Yeah.
From
Nigeria ado ikamba irong yang nyere baket inam yang pokpun kerong Nigeria.
Country ange you kana am the bekete shokolo together ki Nigeria churu kan keti epo.
Which language is it?
Cross River Ogoja precisely.
Okay, so Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria will never obodo. As Nigeria is a great country. Ndu Nigeria, anyị nwa ụmụ Nigeria. Anyị wụ nnekwu mmadụ. Ịghọtago? Nigeria wụ nnekwu obodo. Anyị nwa ụmụ Nigeria wụ nnekwu mmadụ.
Nigeria wụ nnukwute obodo. Jupụtara wit ndị nwere amamihe. N'ọwụ ihe anyị ga-abịakọta ọnụ wee mee ya ma asị anyị kọma mụrụ ya gba ọfụfụ. anyị bịakọta ọnụ anyị mee Nigeria ya dị mma.
Nigeria bụ obodo siri ezigbo ike, obodo dị mma, kajara akaja, ndị nọ n'ime ya sikwa n'ezigbo ike. Anyị na-agba mbọ ka anyị bịakọtanụ n'otu, ka anyị mee obodo anyị ka ọ bụrụ ezigbo obodo a ga-eji na-ama atụ n'ụwa niile.
Ji faruwa don yi kinye bayi abun nona iji ganewa nan ba su ko zane ji gukpe mulki ogba ni kin babun nona yanayin yawa biya yi na ba su ko alaya da ba a lotu keminu goyi na ebe na Nigeria ya abun nona wa ya gboro luwen ya ji anyi sarai ba su ko aliyeru nga yawa ya kinye yi alhamdulillah.
Oh my God, Nigeria is a great country with powerful citizens. Let's work together to make it make it better. So we're going to take turns to say that in our language. I'll start with you today.
The thing I want to say, Nigeria now the country. Everything we do for this country now, building banga, everything we people come together. Because the person we will be, like the person we will produce, carry Nigeria, make Nigeria greater.
Correct.
That's teaching.
It's still a language. I was like, that would be a unifying language, so to say. It is, at least. Even if you don't know how to speak English.
We can try with sincerely, I mean, like, yeah, I love what you say.
Okay, so now I want to hear you say it in Yoruba.
Okay, what's the first one?
Nigeria is a great country with powerful citizens. Let's work together to make it better.
Nigeria. Àwọn ẹni gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe wọ́n mú wá ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, àwọn èèyàn gbàǹtùgbàǹtù gbòǹtùgbòǹtù ni wọ́n ṣe rí àdá kí gbogbo akáṣe ìṣọ̀kan. Ká mú ìlédè Nàìjíríà wá yìí kó dúró gbọ́n bí mo ṣe dùn bí kíní fẹ́lẹ́fẹ́lẹ́ tó ń pè ní fìlàgì.
That kind of sounds longer than the statement.
Do you understand?
I don't. Adjectives and then I can't even take it that's why the language is different because now it comes to you with fresh, you know what I was vamped and
dynamic.
I am a
my name is Igbo, so let me.
You are Ekiti.
I'm Ekiti.
Yes.
Wow. So let me speak my normal Yoruba.
At least let me know how much I've been sold for.
Let me okay, so ìlú Nàìjíríà, ìlú tó dání, ìlú tó lóye, ìlú tó dá, ìlú tó tóbi, tó péye. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sowọ́pọ̀ kí a mú ilẹ̀ wa yìí ní dáadáa, ní kókó, ní ìgbẹ̀mù, kó lè dá fún wa dáadáa. In fact, what she said was that when she looked at you and she saw how you're going. I already saw you. Nigeria is great. And that continues.
I don't believe it. I'm grateful for English. I'm grateful to God for English.
You know what?
Actually, see, this is a challenge.
Okay, everyone.
Okay.
Good.
You know, because we're in front of the camera.
Please, will you I was doing normal basic.
Okay. Nigeria. Boboduku nwere marama. Nde silike. Nde na-eme ihe ka onwe isi. Ka anyị jikọ aka ọnụ, ka anyị mee obodo anyị ka ọ bụrụ ife ama ama.
Oh my God, opening time.
Fantastic.
It was that good. I'm telling you every time. But I'll tell you what, we really should celebrate Ibom Air. Because every time I get on, you know, if you get on to Ibom Air, right, I mean, we're talking language. They translate to they welcome people in, and at one point I thought they were going to stop. I had to call the attention of the people and say, please, don't stop. Don't stop. What you're doing is a critical intervention and a wake-up call.
That's why I'm going to touch you there. I want us to take a few messages. We're going to take some messages. And again, guys, please do not call. Just send your messages. I will read it on the show, I promise. So please do not call. So this is a message from Adeshina from Ikole Ekiti. Did I call her? Ikole Ekiti. The real problem. Yeah. Okay. Ekiti. He says the real problem is from the parents and a little from the government. In some private schools in Southwest Yoruba land,
language is eradicated from the subject. Like me as a parent, I really make it mandatory for my children to speak English in school, but in my house, Yoruba is our official language, just like what my mom did. Just like what my mom did. I'll take another message. This is Mr. Yusuf from Lagos. He says Ikorodu is... Oh, well, he actually wrote in Yoruba. Sorry. I don't thank you, Yusuf. We're trying. We're trying to speak our language. The next one is from Caroline. She says, I'm Maggie by tribe. I love the show. Thank you, Caroline. Next message is from... Okay, you didn't put the name. Said it's very vital to have our kids learn, speak, and also teach their own kids to their mother tongue. It also should be a thing every citizen should be proud of, especially among our Igbo people. Why would you single out Igbo? The very shameful part is some children will say my parents said I am from Igbo, but I don't know our village. Okay, I could tell you a story from that. Okay, so something happened to me many years ago. I went, when I graduated from school, because I schooled in the East, so I wanted to move my things to my village before going back to where my parents were. So of course, I knew I was from Nigerian. I've been to Nigerian a couple of times. Last my rent was on when we did my dad's funeral. So I know the place, but I didn't know the place. so I got there. I got to Medley, so I packed my things, I put into a car. Then the driver said, do you know where you're going to? I said, yes. It's this way. It's that way. By the time we had done a marathon, he said, okay, just tell me the name, where you're going to, and the name of it. So I told him, and he took me to my father's place. And I made up my mind. No one was going to show me the way to my father's house again. I mean, because so it just like what she said. My father said I'm from Imo State, but I don't know where I'm from. I am very sure that the person who would say this does not know how to speak Igbo.
You know, talking about tracking your roots. I remember when my father retired and took us to the States of Abuja, we all felt completely disenfranchised. I was born, went to Lagos, almost go all the way, and then all of a sudden the university and that is going to live in what? Ogun State. I hated going. I was miserable. Do you know the love I now have for my nativity of the state? I can't describe it. I go to Shirley, where our family built the first medical Christian church, and put them there. And I look at that. I'm completely, I can't describe how I feel. Connected to the earth. Yeah. Farmland, all of those things. I come from a very musical nativity. Yeah. In terms of from local states, we have the song, national song, state song, Isheya. You have the Abuja song that talks about Mayo, and then the one my daddy taught us when we were taking care of babies, and we would say, you know, after this show, I'm going to learn Yoruba. You guys are not going to do this to me next time. I'm going to... Anyway, let's take more messages. Let's take more messages. This is from Vincent. He says he's Ishan, but he has a question. What plans do teachers have for what plans do the teachers have for students who decline their mother tongue while in the school? I'm not a teacher. I don't know what plans they have. Anyway, before we continue, so before we go on the show, let's take a break and bring you an American who speaks Yoruba and Igbo. Yeah. An American who speaks Yoruba and Igbo would be fascinating to see. Actually amazing things to see. You know, there's someone there's something in Lagos that they call the white Yoruba guy. He is the son. This one is in America. He's the son of Sarah Boros. He's very white. He's a white guy. But he's Yoruba. And his brother is the one who married Donald Trump's daughter. Are you serious? So Nigeria is brother-in-law to Donald Trump's daughter.
Anyway, let's take that picture now. Let's bring that American music to Yoruba and Igbo. Watch this.
How are you?
I think I've seen your videos before.
No, really?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I think so.
Show go Yoruba.
Yeah, go Yoruba. I know.
Bawoni. Picasso. New Yoruba Rokumini Oluwafemi.
Oluwafemi. Ìyàwó mi ni.
Oh, ìyàwó ẹ̀.
Yes.
Oh.
Where are you from?
I'm America mi. I'm America.
Yeah.
Mo ti kọ́ Yorùbá. Mo ti kọ́ Yorùbá fún oṣù mẹ́ta sí ẹ̀yìn. Oṣù mẹ́ta bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Wow, that's so awesome. Yeah, I just saw the video recently. I was talking about it. I was just
America, Benny, ní internet. Àti ìdíje. Mo ń kọ́ ní internet pẹ̀lú Nigeria. Olùkọ́ láti Nigeria. Kòkó àti mo fẹ́ràn láti wá ìlú Nigerian. Láti sọ Yorùbá pẹ̀lú ọmọ Nigeria.
I saw your video, you tasting the African food and the Nigerian food. I saw the video, I was like, oh, this is actually awesome. It's interesting. I never thought I would even see you.
So you also eat Nigerian food?
I love more fair like the Jones in Nigeria. Gani.
I can't remember. I just
shout my wife on Instagram. Fún àpẹẹrẹ mo fẹ́ràn láti jẹ.
Instagram mi feedback.
Yeah, ẹ̀bà àti ẹ̀gúsí àti mi ò rántí báwo ni ẹ ṣe ń sọ kílù. Kuli, yeah.
This is interesting.
Wow.
This is interesting. This is awesome. That's
very, very beautiful.
This is good.
It's 3 months you can speak this much.
Wasn't that amazing to see? I mean, it's we can all speak English. We all know where we got English from, but it's actually very fascinating to see an American. So even though you could hear him putting the Oyibo accent, but then he tried. He tried because
you know what I want to say.
If he's white and he can speak Yoruba, there are Yorubas here who cannot even attend.
You know, I'll tell you what it is. It's the internet. You heard what he said.
It's the internet.
It's technology. It's the fourth industrial revolution, which means what we seem to be losing, we can very quickly
get back,
direct it, and give it the orientation with the technology that makes it techy and happy for our children. We will find that they will engage. So I would say that the universal language right now is technology. And if you can put it in that tech format, right, at digital format, for the girl child, for the boy child, make it cool, package it around stuff they like, whatever food you want to eat, things like that. You just find that it becomes a very old word now, remixed, funky expression. My daughter, when I said, what do you know about funky? Say, no, we use the word funky.
Oh yeah, we use funky.
Okay, we use funky. I thought we used the word funky.
Anyway, you know, I did say something about, I did ask you when we started the show if you knew how to speak more than, besides Yoruba, more than one language, besides your native language. Anyway, we're about to show you someone. She's Ibira, but she speaks so many languages. Watch this.
My name is Bilkisu Abdullahi.
Bilkisu Abdullahi. Très bien. So how many languages do you speak?
5 languages.
Can you count them?
Igbo.
Yes.
Hausa.
Yes.
Yoruba.
Yes.
Ibira.
Yes.
And English.
Okay. And Pidgin English.
And Pidgin
6
English.
languages. So, Kebi Mudasu Igbo?
Oh, na not.
Na not. Ibina Enetiti Igbo?
I be on Enetiti Igbo, but one woman in a compound, I almost so okay. So most of time the same school Kaigal.
Okay.
I nata I gubegu. So as from that primary school.
Okay.
In English, tomorrow, it's only God that knows tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow.
Nobody knows tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. I'm okay with you. Yes. You have not lived in the East, really?
No, I have not.
Wow.
I always brought up in the midst of
Igbo people in the north.
In the north.
That's awesome.
Even in Igbo language, in Igbo
environment.
town,
Yeah,
yes.
That's awesome. Can I do Hausa?
Yes, Naji.
In Akikaji Hausa in.
Changiriman Yobe. In the Naji Igbo, I wouldn't name Naji Hausa.
Okay, in the Kikaji Igbo, wouldn't name Kikaji Hausa. Okay, the kill. Zaki Akibamu Karimagara Hausa?
Kama Hausa suka ce ba zai yi ido ya mutu ko liye tashe shi ba. Yake zamani yanzu akwai masu painting do the painting. Mutum ya gama wanke fiska ai dole fiska kuma ya koma kama da. So definitely ba zai yi fiska ya mutu duk koliyanka idan ka riga ka gama wanka
za a ga daidai yanda kike gaskiyan ki gaji. Okay. Ebo Yoruba.
Igbo.
Ba le se ko Yoruba se nílẹ̀ Hausa yẹn náà lẹ ti kọ́ Yoruba.
Rárá o, nígbà tí mo wá sí Èkó tí mo fẹ́ ọkọ mi ni.
Okay, lẹ́yìn tẹ́ ti ṣègbéyàwó lẹ ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kọ́ Yoruba.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ṣé Yoruba rọrùn láti gbọ́ àbí ó ṣòro?
Tọ́ ó rọrùn.
Fún yín?
Fún mi.
So Ìgbìrà ni?
Ìgbìrà ni mí.
Ọmọ Kogi? Ó máa ń ṣe ní kàyéfì. Okay, let's switch into English. I think we have established that you speak Yoruba. The people from Kogi, they seem to be able to speak many languages. What do you think? Is that the situation?
Yes, they do, because when you come to Kogi, you find Igbo there, you find Hausa, you find Yoruba.
Okay.
So we are not the people, like, do I notice my people?
Yes.
They welcome visitors than themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that is Ibira for you.
Okay.
They welcome you, and they always be in midst of you. That is how the interaction
I think
of
that's true, because if you look at this, it's surrounded by 10 states.
Yes.
So there's no way they have to be. They will always find Igbo there.
Yes,
there,
yes,
Yoruba from Ekiti, from
most
Ondo,
languages.
They are there.
They are there.
Can you just greet the people briefly?
Yes, I can brief them. Anya nenene, anya rodo, anya lurua. Omuri osira abai babe, ekora oyo ozoza, because one hour ekora enyo zo enyo wono. Ukonyo so na ha. Do neutralizer, do mogovo yo.
Meaning?
Good morning, good afternoon. It is good to have you people around, because and it's good for one to understand the different kind of languages, because there's no way you go. You meet with people and be very free with them. Work can take you there, and you meet someone that can help you to get job.
Okay, you just mentioned job, right?
Yeah.
So what did you study?
I studied accounting and auditing.
Okay, now how has this language you've learned helped you?
The language have helped me because there's a company that have a misunderstanding. The company, they are Lebanese, that have misunderstanding with an Hausa man. It happened, the Hausa man proved he doesn't understand the English. So a man there know I speak language. He has to invite me to the court. They have the case to take to court. So they asked me to come over there and interpret between the English and Hausa. So I did, and for me to do that, I know how much I earn.
A lot of money.
Yes.
Glad to know that you're still with us on the show. This is the Medley Show, and if you're just joining us, you're in time for the closing moments of the show. We've been talking why are our Nigerian languages going extinct, and of course we've said so many things, but well, before we round up the show, I'm going to read a few messages to you. Yes, this is from Hidi, again, no name, who says, I'm male and I own a security consulting firm. I teach Igbo to people at my spare time for money. I speak Hausa and Yoruba at level 2. I don't know what level 2 that means, but the fact that he makes money from teaching Igbo, he makes money from actually teaching people his native language. You know, there's something, like I said, when I was listening, some parents pay for French for their kids to learn French. So, I don't think there's anything bad. Okay, so we're going to round up discussion right now. Ask Dario. So tell me, what do you think can be done to actually to curb this, to help people actually want to speak their native language? I said that because I remember when I was living in the East, like I said, you would go out to interview people. We would do the interview both in Igbo and in English. You say, I cannot speak Igbo. Okay, or you say it in Igbo. Or say it in English. The English you hear, your ear will sting
So what do you think can be done to get people to actually want to speak their native language?
Well, I'd like to say that the first person of reference is you. You are the world's best teacher. Your lifestyle and the way in which you choose to communicate what you believe needs change through an advocacy that you personally direct through your exposure, your influence, and your own contagious expression for life. For me, that I believe is the most important thing. The other thing is like being intentional. You understand? So you have to change you want to see. So it's got to begin with me. I've got to do something. I've got to commit to this. After this program now, you've got my attention. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what can change? What can be different? In my home, in me. And then extended through me to the different groups or platforms. I'm privileged to engage, influence, and direct conversations as well as engagements through what I would now reformat in my work. Maybe I can host something as a special how do I put it, rehash in terms of the competition of language. Anti-Dio can do something, an anti-Dio speak your language, something or the other, or that kind of thing. If you're going to come to a big project, we can all do one thing or the other. The other thing we can do is take it up more seriously and drive what this is about into a conversation that can now translate to even a bill. Something to work with teachers, and I do a lot with the FCT.
I like that you said. I like that you
do that. Yep.
I like how you said it starts with you, so you have to be intentional. So you heard it. You have to be intentional to speak your mother tongue. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel it makes you not woke, like they say. Don't think it makes you a Jew person. If you speak your language, it helps you connect better with your culture. And this is where we say thank you very much, Atidaya, for being on the show today. Thank you so much for being part of the Medley show today. See you next week. Bye bye.